This week we take to the skies as British Airways combines fashion and flying in a spectacular aircraft launch. And we celebrate the end of boring airplane safety videos. Also, a new website encouraging young creatives to up their game and how to simplify storefront branding. We'll also look at how a major bank is helping ordinary South Africans realise their dreams of soccer stardom. And our ad of the week is a real tearjerker. All right, all of that to come this week, but we'll start with this. The Irish whiskey brand Jameson has launched a concept called the Indie Channel, created by the native VML agency. This online channel is going to air the best independent curated work from work submitted to a website. Well, standing by for us in Cape Town to tell us more about it is Jameson brand manager Sibusiso Shangase. Sibusiso, welcome and thank you very much for joining us. An interesting concept, a brand new content platform, so to speak. What was the thinking behind it and how does it work?
Well, I mean, the thinking behind the Indie Channel was for Jameson to find a new way to get a step change on what we did last year within the digital space. So we're trying to find a new way to continue speaking to our viewers and take them to the next levels of the Jameson brand. So we sat down with Native and said, what is popular right now? What's going on? What are our consumers and the next leaders within the economic scale? What are they doing? What's driving them? That's how the Jameson Indie Channel came about. I mean, it's the next change within the digital space for us.
What type of work are you actually encouraging here?
Well, I mean, the Indie Channel is essentially everything that's happening within the indie platform. And by indie platform, we're talking about a bubbling South African zeitgeist. The payoff line for the Indie Channel is the fiercely authentic South African channel. From indie art to indie films to independent music, cultural freedoms that generally don't have the platform that would normally be given by traditional mainstream media. And we're trying to find a way to bake the brand into this cultural conversation.
It's a very bold idea, yet I would also contend that Jameson itself is a mainstream brand. How risky and how edgy are you prepared to be?
Right now, we're kind of skirting the line between edgy and mainstream. I've always believed that once you go super mainstream, you kind of get lost within the ad and brand clutter. We're trying to find a way of towing our mainstream line versus the edgy line, because that's what Jameson's been built up on over the last 20 years within the South African market and over the last close to a couple of centuries within the global market. We're trying to find a way that allows the brand to stay within the cultural conversation without being lost. And that's, like I said, the brand is built up to be not as overly formal and tied up as our Scottish counterparts, and not as aloof and super left as the American counterparts. Irish whiskey is all about finding that middle point that kind of speaks to both sides and kind of skirt the line. I mean, it's just some of the comments we've had from the guys who attended the Cape Town and the Johannesburg launch, that it's an awesome platform that allows South African consumers of the brand to finally have a voice for themselves within the cultural playing field.
It's a very clever niche marketing strategy, but surely there are lots of non-indie drinkers of your brand. Does this initiative cater to them?
We have curated footage from Jameson events that not only speak to the indie elements, but also tie into something like a Best Dressed Awards or a Style Awards. Stuff that kind of moves the consumers through the various ranks. So it's not just a street festival in Johannesburg. It's a Film Awards, a Best Dressed Awards. It kind of moves through the ranks, and we're trying to keep our consumers with us. As we grow, they grow along with us, and we take them through the various brand journeys as well.
All right, we appreciate the thinking. Sibusiso Shangase, brand manager for Jameson, talking to us from Cape Town. Thank you very much indeed. Let's move on to our ad of the week, and I promise you, this one is guaranteed to make you reach for the tissues. It is unquestionably the most inspiring ad that we have seen in the past couple of years. It tells the story of a greying South African man who, despite his advanced age, is determined to learn how to read. And as you'll see, there is one singular goal in mind. The ad was created by the King James Agency and was directed by Greg Gray from Velocity Films. You're welcome to tell us what you think on our Facebook page.
Evening.
Evening.
May I ring that up for you?
Yes, please.
Have a good evening.
After me, eh?
Hey.
Then no.
Not good. Not good.
Just the sounds that words make.
Cat, dog,
Calamari.
trash on the beach.
Oh, good.
Farm fresh. My son and I mowed the grass.
That's a gold star. Unbelievable.
Dad,
Hey, Tubbs, I read your book.
you read my book. Barman, give that man a bells.
Well, after that piece of creative advertising, we're certainly looking forward to seeing more local talent at this year's Design Indaba at the end of February. The Chief Executive Officer, Ravi Naidoo, in Cape Town, joins us now to tell us what we can expect from this year's event. Ravi, a very warm welcome to you. Now, this really has become a firmament in the creative calendar in South Africa. Before we talk about what we're doing this year, take us back to the original thinking.
Well, Jeremy, it was quite clear in the immediate afterglow of the first democratic elections in 1994. We were all imbued with this kind of passion of trying to reimagine South Africa. And our particular contribution to the country was to say, how could we corral together the best brains, the best ideas to help to reimagine South Africa and to reimagine Africa? So at the heart of it is this conference where we bring out the world's thought leaders to come and share with us their expertise and their stories so we can inspire an entire new generation of Africans to go out and to create.
As far as design is concerned, how much reimagining then do you think you've actually achieved?
Well, it's been interesting. I mean, we have this announcement recently that we're the World Design Capital, and that didn't happen out of the ether. And quite frankly, I think, it's been 20 years in the works, and it's taken a lot of time to actually shift consciousness, shift behavior, and get South Africans to understand, actually, that some of the primary assets are not just commodities, but it's this gorgeous real estate between your ears. I think ultimately, as Clinton said in '92, it's the economy stupid. And recently, the Graduate School of Business at UCT calculated that Design Indaba alone has added 1.3 billion to the economy, mostly through sales of the expo to buyers around the world.
All right, the expo is always a treat, but perhaps most people flock to Cape Town because of the wonderful array of speakers that you managed to put together. What can we expect this year?
Oh, it's a stunning lineup. It's probably one of our best ever. I mean, just in terms of the conference, in any sector, I mean, I'm not sure, Jeremy, if you know of any conference, whether it's in film or whether it's in accounting or leadership, which has 40 international speakers, 10 local speakers, a total cast of about 50, which is amazing. And, we scour the world, we work really, really hard at this, and it's a long lead time in the prep. I mean, we've already got 10 speakers booked, for example, for 2015. But, I mean, some of the highlights include, I found this guy, happens to be a South African expat, he's in Los Angeles, he went to school in Rondebosch, he went to architectural school at UCT, and he was the guy who subsequently went on to design what's ostensibly seen to be the best example of office design, which is the Googleplex. And his name is Clive Wilkinson, and Clive Wilkinson is making a homecoming, which is wonderful. We've got a lovely, huge surprise, which is going to be unveiled at the Design Indaba, because over and above, having this platform, which is a gorgeous inspirational platform, it's really about taking the energy there and transforming it into other projects. And one of the projects is going to get a very grand reveal and an unveil when we introduce Thomas Heatherwick, very famous London architect, who famously designed the cauldron for the London Olympics, the kind of cauldron that opened up like a candelabra. And so Thomas is out here, and he's going to be anchoring day one. So, amazing lineup, all 6 continents represented. We've got from Rio de Janeiro to Auckland and Tokyo to Los Angeles and everywhere in between. It's going to be a fantastic celebration of creativity.
Well, Ravi Naidoo, thank you very much indeed. Mags on Media certainly looks forward to making the trek to Cape Town at the end of this month. Now, coming up on the programme, it's all up in the air as British Airways launches a new aircraft range using fashion as a backdrop. We're behind the scenes for a new online retail ad, and this video is going to change the way you see aeroplane safety videos forever.
News that moves. ENCA.com.